I mean, it has become a byword, and then if change were to have a life, it has been like double dead siguro. No, because it has been abused so many times, and depending on what vantage point, what perspective are you saying, and I have my own, like for
Kung
example,
sa tigulang pa na
perspective.
muna siya maskada.
Oo, daw grabe nga usap na sa iya ka daw hindi na siya mapuslante, na daw literally nagbago naging man siya. So gusto natin sa pagbago, yes.
You've tasted empanaditas and buns, but have you ever tasted papas con chorizo, curried chicken, pulled pork, double cheese, and tuna basil? Only Jinkies Kitchen offers these flavors. Catch a bite now of Jinkies Kitchen empanaditas and buns at Kmart, Monsterepic at Singkang and Talisay City, San Carlos, Silay City, Lopez East Center, and Lopez San Sebastian. Jinkies Kitchen empanaditas and buns, a pocket full of goodness. Nature's Perfect Lunchbox. For perfect eggs, fresh and clean, guaranteed all the time. For orders, text or call 0907-838-7958.
Mr. Ariel Guides is with us, and he is, of course, president of the Altertrade Philippines Foundation for Food Sovereignty. Sir Ariel, welcome to DNX.
Thank you, Sir Julius, and thanks for inviting me here.
We sound so serious. Of course, full disclosure, si Sir Ariel is a very good friend, no? And he is one of those known sa Parliament of the Streets. In fact, we grew up together sa Dalanon. Hindi nga nag-rugby boys kami, kundi we grew up together sa Parliamentary of the Streets.
Yeah.
Although on opposing sides, no? And in fact, we sometimes clash on the streets. But now he is working for an NGO, and I am back to journalism, and now we come together to discuss certain issues. First of all, let's talk a bit about politics, kung anong impact sini sa inyo. As an NGO, ano ang inyo paglantaw sa nagdalagan sa bunga traditional politics? Would this affect you in any way?
Well, for Altertrade, yata sa ammonia, indirectly, yes. Governance and the bureaucracy, for example, as a legal organization based there sa Negros, particularly in Bacolod. So annually, we have to renew our licenses. So, not that much, no? Hindi maging siya dako, but it sometimes, and I think whoever sits in power locally, medyo may dragging manggid. But we kind of used to that. On the other hand, sa amon niyang mga partner, producers, for example, in Balangon and Mascobado, which is our major products, ang governance dito sa ila nag-affect man in terms of networking and advocacy sa aton nga mga partner producers. In what case, no? And ano nga mga manifestations ini? Number one, isa man na ang mga accreditations nila. Secondly, ang ila mga programs and efforts kung hindi amo na bla ang concentration or major focus sa aton nga mga local government, because everybody has its own or her own and his own annual investment plan, no? Mayo lang na ako ng imo nga mga partner producers really or have this partnership or networking sa imo local government. For example, I would cite La Castellana, for example, which is the local government, very supportive sa aton, and then sa Bago may, easily gaining. But kung hindi, so that's the purpose of Altertrade Foundation, no? In particular, you really have to support them. So, traditional and local politics, I think we have come to get along, and keep up with it at some point. Even I could speak for, and on behalf of our partner producers, because, ang political background nila, medyo madalo man kag masangkad, they get used to it somehow.
Ang inyo foundation, because you are a foundation, I can say sometimes you have better networks on the ground, no, than traditional political parties. Kaya
Yes.
yung mga partners are
Yeah.
farmers organizations or agrarian reform beneficiaries. Pila subong ang inyong mga partner organizations?
Ang Altertrade, no, as a whole, we are the foundation and we have the corporation. And the corporation, of course, is the one that exports or sells the products of the farmers and the producers. We operate on an island-wide Negros Island for Oriental and Occidental. So we have about 28 partner producer organizations. These are farm workers, agrarian reform beneficiaries, and marginal farmers in Balangon.
Island-wide ni.
Island-wide.
Yes.
It covers 13 cities and municipalities in the whole island of Negros.
Pero majority Occidental.
Occidental, no, it's half.
Half.
Half and half. Yes, you're correct. Kalabanan diri sa Occidental. But our major source of Balangon at this point is on Oriental, is in Oriental.
Okay. Now, for the benefit of those who are not familiar with Altertrade, the foundation, and the corporation, let me tell you this, nga kilala ka mo sa maskubado nga kalamay eh.
Yes, sir.
Organic.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So, maskubado, hindi tama kalain sa ikaayong lawas, labi na sa mga diabetics. No? But,
Yeah.
let's go back to politics. May balita nga si John Orola, Madlagan Gobernador. Ano ang kata-kata on the ground ginabatian niyo?
That's what I heard also.
Ginaistoryahan sang
yes.
mga farmer organizations.
Oo, sa nasiling ko na, sige, like for example, I make it a point that twice or thrice a week, I'm on the ground. No? So, being in charge of the social development work, as a foundation, dapat atugid kami to technical, organizational development of the partner producers. Sa Don Salvador and Bagoy, these are the particular cases that I would cite. And they were asking me, Sir, Madlagan si Urula daw, taga Bacolod man na. And I think, that's what I heard. As far as, I can only account or get my information coming from news also, no? One of which is yours. So, siling ko, base, no? I don't know. And he has confirmed already that he has registered in a particular municipality. And it's kind of, almost saying at Madlagan. So that's the information also that I share with the partners. And in fact, ang una nakambal sinaliya sa akon are the partner producers down. Because they said, particular, diri sa Don Salvador Benedicto, because they said, dito nagkuha sa ila sang, what is that? Registration.
Dito siya nagsilo?
Oo, nagsilo. Or residency. Kasama na.
Yes. But of course, everyone is excited sa Bacolod. Ikaw, you are a Bacolod resident.
Yes, sir.
And you are also known to be close before with Congressman Karapali Luwalhati.
Yeah.
Are you relatives?
I could say in blood, no. But even up to now, we are close as a family. Not only him, but his family and my family. So medyo kahit dulungan kami tubo sa isa ka lugar. And in fact, no.
Kag sa activism naman.
Yeah. And activism, in fairness, sa kay kung Stephen Paduano, I think I would consider him as one of my mentors in my growth politically and socially. Kahit hara kada pigado, ang ginakanaan mo, ginatulugan mo, sometimes ginaihian mo, isa mo, no? Buka blang kawayan. And then, muna sa log mo, that, So, yeah, personally and family, lapit kami na. Even up to now.
Yes, at least para ma-qualify talang kung sino ka. But of course, ang Bacolod, ikaw taga Barangay Bata, one of the biggest barangays sa Bacolod. And you are also the president sa Alumni Association.
Oh, yes.
In short, you also command a following. And as a political observer, anong paglantaw nimo sa excitement over calls for change subong sa Bacolod?
Siguro I would start, Sir Jules, it kind of puzzled me manggani mo, no? Because it is highly polarized subong, no? As there is sa Bacolod, and then the polarization starts from up, no? Kung sinong leader mo, sino imo kandidato, it starts from there, and then ang imo na ng mga leaders, ang imo na yung so-called leaders, electoral leaders, and mga minions mo sa dalom, even your fanatics, no? May ara gina, no? And then of course, I would try to qualify myself. Aray ko diya sa tunga. Because there are those, advocates, and yet, just like you said, at the onset of this interview, may ara pa ganyan mga advocates, no? Kag mga background natin sa social movement nga ara da. So, but as a political observer, it's getting quite interesting. Now, change. And change, it was kind of funny because I was with a friend yesterday morning, and he was saying, and these are just, common talks in the coffee shops. Anong gusto nila nga pagbago? Ikaw, ano ka subong? Siya driver ko sa tricycle, dyan so ikaw to sa City Hall. That's change. Nya anong kasubong niya, maestra ko sir, niya gusto magpermanente niya dito ka. Nya yung third floor na da sa Dason, ikaw na ang head sa mga messenger, ikaw na ang head sa mga janitorial services. That's literally change. But to think it over, kung paminsara mo kag-analisahon mo, that's also a change that these people want, that this common tao want, And to me, I think it's kind of have an impact in the local, shall we say, local politics sa Subong, nga ginasudlan. Kaya kabalo kita, I think this is one of the most intense, to borrow your word, it is a battle royale nga matabo, depending on what perspective are you qualifying it. But, amo na ang Subong, very, very intensified. So, for example, kung ikaw si Mayor Victi, basi hindi ka man katulog. Kung ikaw si Albi Benitez, basi hindi ka man gusto maperde, hindi ka man katulog because you are up against the longest serving mayor in Bacolod. And I think post, as everybody is saying, post Guanzon and Butilibano battle, I think this is, considered to be a very, very interesting, for me, very, very interesting fight for the mayoralty post.
But as you have correctly pointed out, ang sitwasyon subong is this, ang polar opposites is because kung sinong imo na hamutan nga kandidato, or let's say probable candidate.
Yes.
Kiti until nga magmala ang tinta sa ilang certificate of candidacy, hindi na sigurado kung madlagan sila. In fact, bisa naka-file na ganin, hindi sigurado, like in the case of Dino and Duterte.
Yes.
Anyway, so bisan probable sila, pero ang ilang ng mga sumulunod, dumapatsanay na mo. Ara na sa Coliseum. May gladiatorial combat na. Diba? Gaaway para sa ilatag-sa-tagsa ka, emperador. Hindi ang ilimnon, kundi
the kingdom.
So that is very interesting, your observation. Pero aside from that, may ara man subong polar opposites
Yes.
Magamba ka change o pagbago, ang pwede lang it seems nga makabitbit is the challenger.
Yes.
Si Albi Benitez. Kung ikaw ang mayor, do hindi ka na pwede magbitbit sini. Is that a correct view?
Well, it depends from which vantage point you're coming from. For me, I can, first of all, pwede gid. If for example, the sitting mayor, granting he wins, Mayor Bing, does he want change? Of course, because by the mere line, for example, ipadayon ng progreso, that is figuratively and literally affecting change. Because, ga-evolve ang aton, for example, in all aspect of governance.
Samtang kadalagan ang
yes,
tinuig.
infrastructurally, your governance, your systems. So, hindi mo na magpabilin. And then, you and I know, nga ang pagbago, it's, kakatabo gina, very evolutionary, very developmental. It's a matter who is the driver. So for you, for everyone, or for us, nga magambal nga si Mayor Bing, he is not using change. It's always change. But he might be defining it in a different way. He might say it in a different way. But for us, they change. But I think si Kong Albi, magambal siya nga gusto ko gidya pagbago. That's what I've told you a while ago. Basi gusto gid, And he said that over here, On ano nga gusto niya pagbago. I need not, explain that further. Ang akon lang diya, again, something like funny. I think nowadays, sa electoral season natin, even if it's not yet the filing of certificate of candidacies, this word change has been the most abused term.
It was used by Obama.
Yeah,
it was used by Biden.
It has become a byword, and then if change were to have a life, it has been like double dead siguro. Because it has been abused so many times, and depending on what vantage point, what perspective are you saying, and I have my own, like for
Kung
example,
sa tigulang pa na
perspective.
maskada.
Oo, daw grabe nga usap na sa iya ka daw hindi na siya mapuslan, na daw literally nagbago naging man siya. So gusto natin sa pagbago, yes. And kung sa panahon pati pintahon tanitanan. No, because I think everybody wants change. It's not the challenger only that wants change. It's the city and the incumbency wants change also because it wants to develop. And how do you call that? What do you define that? That's change. That's, you know, it can be called a development. You know, depende. So ang ako niya, may pag-ugid niya whoever sits in power.
And as we would usually point out, tub-tub maghupa ang yabok sang inaway. Ang ining aton tanan analysis paralysis nimo. Diba?
Yes.
Mangamak mo sa kapihan subong magkadto ka. Kisa kung may magtindog stupad mo tabunan mong imutasa nga kay pagkumbate pag diskurso nag-aasik ang laway mo. Kasi masaylo sa imubla.
May pandemic pa na ano.
Pandemic. So that is very, very intriguing. Everyone wants to talk about change. But
Yes.
ang particular and specific issues daw, hindi pa amo nakatingkad ang talakayan nga. Si Mayor Bing ang ginaatake sa mong bigote mo. Dason ang pagkaagi amo nang ginagamit.
Yes.
Binggay, kung ano pa nga mga tinaga. Si Albiting panuwag sa iya, alien. Di imaginable. Ang gaengkwentro subong, may bigote, ang isa alien. So nahimo siya meme ang away subong.
Right.
But sila nga may istorya nga kaso. Siyempre, habuyanay kaso, damo kaso siya mo na. But, ang pamangkot, sino ang nakabasa sa certification na rin sa ombudsman?
Right.
Wala, no?
Right.
I think that is also an indication kung ano ang maturity ta as a body politic. 1986, nagbalik ang demokrasya. Nag-mature gin man ta?
Oh, that's a very interesting point. Pero first of all, sige mention no Sir Jules nga, you know, ang debate on the polarization aspect nga kay Albi ka, kay Mayor Bing kade. And I think we really have to elevate that now. Kung ako pamangguton mo. However, if you look at the demographics ng Bacolod, and the sectors perhaps, you know, not to, you know, offend. May ara pagid may segment sang aton nga katiling boundary sa syudad sa Bacolod nga ang level sang inaway amo na ang bigute
Sa prangkang istorya,
sa
ang mangu.
Oo. Let's give it to them. No, kami amo na siguro these are the kind of people kasi amo to ginang pag-define ko mga fanatics kidya. So, you know, sa punto lang ate ang iya kandidato yati plagga ya mo so dipinsahan niya. Now, going to your last question, yes, we have matured after EDSA. No, I think those who really understand the essence of EDSA, because we have, you know, become known worldwide, no, because this was this is a bloodless revolution, and it's kind of we have become an inspiration to the world. We have become matured, but those who really understand and those who really, you know, participated, you know, like you and me during that time. Even when we were young still, I could very well remember that I was part of it. Daw ikaw man mismo ang nag-mature because you are socially conscious. And those people who participated for the purposes of, you know, for their warm bodies, amo lang na without really studying the context and the real essence of that EDSA revolution, up to this day remains. So, nag-increase to, if you go by data, siguro ang percentage, siguro basi gamay. Those who are socially and morally conscious during that time, amo man sila ang nag-abanse, nga nagdugang. And during those times nga, you know, quote-unquote ang silang muto kay ina nga termino, nagapabilin lang, no? Kag ina-evident na siya hasta subong. Evident na siya hasta subong. Now, during that time, after the EDSA revolution, okay, we were in a revolutionary form of government because 1987 Constitution was still crafted, no? And then we had these elections in the 1988. Was EDSA giving those people, particularly in the left, now because we cannot deny left played a very significant and crucial role dito, no? During the elections, was it reflective of the social movement? Kung ang imo basis lang is the elections in 1988, I think it wasn't. Why? May atumanta to left ng mga candidates. I could remember Jaime Tadeo, Nelia Sancho, Boy Morales, not one of them won. So it was not highly reflective of the social movement. Meaning, daw gin-detach mo ang imo nga learning out of that because ang eleksyon nimo hindi reflective sa imo struggle during that time you were effecting change.
Or because ang left is not really interested sa election.
Well, I
Because
could
if
sense...
you can remember, ang first experience, Partido ng Bayan,
Yeah.
kung
PNB,
pamatod
that
ng
was
mga
it.
operators, ang ambanon nila, ang ato niya, inta election, propaganda lang nimo.
Exactly. And I could very well remember, ako yan, mahambal gid ko, maybe you would agree with me, we wanted to oust Marcos during that time, but during the elections, anong panawagan? That I think that was the turning point. I-boycott ang election.
Exactly.
I-boycott ang election. So para sa ako daw, hindi logical.
Correct.
Because-
Kaya labot sina, paghalin ni Marcos, ang panawagan, kuan mo ay ng, ano ganing panawag to? Tuta ng kano ibagsak, no? Imperialismo
Okay.
ibagsak. Ting porma eleksyon, no?
Oo.
Ti hindi uman mabuto nga ibagsak mong imperialismo sa butuhay,
Exactly.
no?
Well, I think, subong, no offense meant, I think these people have realized naman, you know, after those failures in major political fields under the national democratic struggle abi nga ginahambal naton, no? For social reforms and everything else. May araman ta mga amigos sa una nagapanawagan sila boycott ang pila ka eleksyon pag intra sa party list elections when it was crafted in 1998 and it took effect in 1998, I think, if I'm not mistaken, nag-ilintra man. You know, ironically, sila pa nagapungko sa buong damo no?
Now,
sa
what
party
we
list
are
elections.
talking about, Subong Sir Ariel, is a rather complex,
Very much.
very complex issue. No, we are talking about traditional politics nagasalupsop ta sa papel sa NGOs and then social movements.
Yeah.
Ininalimtan na ni Subong mo kay titao siya basta ara ko sa Facebook, gaupod na ko sa kausa. No? Ang wala na lang nga kausa sa Facebook ang ginaulat ko, ang barikoson mo. Wala. Tanan nga kausa na mo.
Or under that category, di ba sila mo man
Ang
sila?
barikoson wala.
Wala.
Wala gid ang barikoson. Ang alap-up, ang may kaspa wala pa.
Pero, Sir Jules, I would just like to add a little bit, no, sa ginambal mo. Yes, I would agree that is very mix subong ang aton. Pero ako yung subong I would say perhaps diri bisan diri sa Negros or even diri sa Bacolod, ang aton nga form of elections. Every time we conduct it, ara pag gyapon sa kamot sang those who have resources. No? Kay
Nothing can be said about that except nga you have to admit nga mo na.
Exactly. But, you know, I just want to be hypocritical about it because we have like, you know, mga upo sa una in the movements, no? You know, above ground, mga street parliamentarians have become, in fact, the major assets of, you know, the politicians from national to the local levels because they have become, you know, operators and tacticians and everything else of this politicians. You know, that is very...
Di na change man na.
Well, again, no, depende from where you are coming from, no. So, yes, of course.
Kadumduman ko nga ang init sang politika sa Pilipinas pareho sang init ka El Nino. Pero ang iyang kasadya kag ang iyang duag pareho sang perya. But then again, sa sulod sinang perya ang ginahampangan pula puti.
Yes,
Kaya ang tao gusto gid present subong ga istoryata. Damo na ni gambal no pa into pag mo ikaw guro kay Bing ka. Ina gurong ga interview sa imo kay Albina, no? Because people want to have polar choices.
Yes.
Nga kung hindi ka magupod kay Bing, di mo do Albi ka.
Yeah.
But then again, ang eleksyon na mo gid man na. But
Correct.
daw hindi kayo maka-istorya issue. Nga wala kay labot sa duwab lang, nga you just observe. Ang tawag ka pinsan nga nugay na may ara ka mo ginauplan.
Yeah.
Hindi pwede ang independent thinking sa Negros. Diba? Alin sa una, kay ti asyendiro mo. It's either upod ka kay tutok, o kung hindi ka upod kay tutok.
Yeah. Again, that is like kakomplikado mangyapon because no matter, you're correct, no matter how you claim that you are of independent mind and the like-minded nga parehas nimo, no? For example, you and me and whoever else still continue nga ginapatihan nila for social change and advocates for this, although dako sang major shifting under that realizations, coming from that, I would say siguro boxed ideology that we had, So, diba, diri ka na. Galing kay ang putawo subong puro sang Malaysia. Puno gini sa simple nga tinaga puro Malaysia tawo subong. Whether you say something of that, proving na okay, hindi iyan na ni LB statement. Then, even if you cannot claim that you have an independent mind. You know what can make you be cleared of that. I think it's your conscience and your belief, and it's still your principle. So, tanaw ko, it's fine. Kaya hindi man tadi exempted mo. Ilabi na diri sa Bacolod, ilabi na ako, or even ikaw. I mean, and everybody else, who has background, who have backgrounds in the social movements. So, why man the choice? You can just laugh off of it.
Yes.
You know.
Pero makadto ko anay sa pati sa panguma, no, mga partner organizations ninyo, because surprisingly ang agriculture was resilient despite the COVID pandemic.
Right.
Subong na nung epekto sa inyong mga kay tig-alani na kamusta ang inyong mga partner organizations?
Sa number one, sa mga partner organizations, may effect magid siya in the sense nga ang mga panawagan sa mga restrictions bala naton, no? Ang panawagan sa mga restrictions naton, that I think that is only the major and perhaps one of the very few nga nag-apekto sa ila sa sininga pandemic, no? Other than that, wala. Kay of course it is as data would say, agriculture is one of the least affected sector in terms when March 18, 2019 was when WHO declared pandemic. That is on our partner producers, no, up to this day. Although ang iba na nila, for example, ang India major source of income, for example, balangon and mascobado or sugarcane production, when they go into diversification, ara mangyapon. By the time they harvest, for example, i-harveston mo imo takway da sa ilihan, imo balangon o imo nga arnibal nga saging sa DSB, mabudlay ka magbiyahe sa Bacolod pakadto sa Libertad because of restrictions. Amo na siya mga particular nga mga ano. So better yet sa amon ti may ara man kami domestic in the box, no? So we sell all kinds of products organically, ti amo nang gina bakal namon. Now anong effects na sa Altertrade? Ironically daw nag-provide siya sang opportunity, no? Para sa
so
amon.
So turn you into an opportunity.
Because Altertrade operations is 80-90% export. For one, balangon is 100% being exported. It's not being sold domestically. Ang amon mascobado, we sell only mascobado 15 to 20% domestically. Because, I must admit, we are international standards. We are certified organic for mascobado and certified fair trade products. So we are into the realm of fair trade business internationally or globally. So medyo pricey na di kung dire ka sa Bacolod because ara na siya sa mga hotels, in everywhere else. You cannot simply find that in sari-sari store. So gataas ang imo market, especially sa Europe. So nagataas ang amon nga market. What we did is to improve the processing and increase the yield down below sa production sites dito sa mga partner producers. And then we, simultaneously, you have to improve also your facilities in the mill because you have like demands coming from markets abroad, particularly Switzerland, Germany, and we expanded to Belgium, I think, no? So amo na home-based man, no? Home-based man. So ang industrial demand bisan dito sa Europe and in parts of Japan and Korea because these are our bigger markets. Ang ila industrial demand coming production of chocolate, for example, production of cakes in Korea and somewhere else, nag-shift sa home base. So nagkadto man ma-order man si nanay, no? Ang mga home base, just like us here, no?
So increase ang inyo nga demand or ang demand para sa inyong produkto?
For 2020 for Altertrade, I think I'm not sure 8 to 10% of the market. And I think that's relatively big, no?
So in a way ang pandemic naka-benefit sa inyo. I mean, kalaw ay manihambal na, no? Pero amo na mo.
Yes, somehow nakabulig ginaya, no, sa aton nga mga partner producers first and foremost because that's the yield. It converted into their income. Kag tapos may mga arak na partner producers under the fair trade system, once they are certified fair trade internationally by the certifying body, may mga premium pa na sila nga ginahatag sa ila. So what they get is additional tractors, for example, additional trucks, additional farm implements, amo na ang gina-provide. So, syempre ng income. For Altertrade, it's just okay lang. May ara man siya may expanded the market, no? Kahit medyo long-term ang ginatanaw niya. Ang isa lang ganyan ka-danger, as in everyone else, ang threat sa Altertrade are its people.
Yeah.
Because we have had cases also of COVID-19. No? So we have to instill, policies kag institutionalize man, and we have, for example, work from home, yun na experience man na naton, skilled forces in the office. For the foundation, ang ako niya galing hambal sa mga staff, nga siling ko medyo ara man tatuya sa mga lugar, kay as per our profiling, not one, may ara ged duha, among all our partners, duha man lang niya sa amon member producers, ang may nakalista namon nga COVID cases, mo isa sa Don Salvador, kag isa sa Siaton sa Negros Oriental. So far, amo man lang na. So daw, we keep up with the pandemic.
On that note, Sir Ariel, thank you so much for your time.
Sir Julius, thank you very much for this opportunity. Mayong hapon sa atin.